Yesterday, the Trinity Tigers men's basketball team won a chippy contest against U Dallas, 83-73. And today, they play an Austin College team playing for their season, as Austin College scored a key win at Schreiner in Kerrville. Austin College needs this win to have a chance at making the SCAC Conference Tournament. On the court today for the Tigers, Braxton Berry, Ben Hanley, Jacob Harvey, Tanner Brown, and A.J. Clark. And as a foul by the Roos makes it a no-bucket situation. On the court for the Roos, Joshua Joe, Tristan Dick, Kittis Gannett, O.C. Berry, and Jordan Hudgens. Jacob Harvey coming down the lane. Hands it over to A.J. Clark, who bounds it in to Ben Hanley. Back to Clark. Over to Harvey, making its way up the three-point arc. Braxton Berry. Back to Jacob Harvey. A.J. Clark. Ben Hanley driving it in. Hands it over to Harvey, who can't make the first three of the day. We are scoreless a minute in. Hudgens having to contend with this aggressive Trinity defense. Kittis Gannett over to Joe. And the Roos can't put up that shot. And they end up keeping the ball, just barely keeping it out of the backcourt. Joshua Joe into Jordan Hudgens. Hudgens back up to Joe. Hudgens drives it in. As that foul is on Tanner Brown. And the Roos find Gannett. He passes it up to Joe. Over to Dick. Tristan Dick scores the first points of the game for the Austin College Kangaroos. Ben Hanley driving straight up in. The foul on O.C. Berry. Hanley getting Trinity's first points of the game. We'll see if he can get the and one. No, he cannot. The Roos charging down the court, as this is Joshua Joe who gets it into Jordan Hudgens. Back down to Gannett. Gannett over to Hudgens, who shot near the elbow. Is no good. The Roos inbound to Josh Joe. Joe gives it to Gannett. Back to Joe. Joe driving in. Gets it to Hudgens. He's trying to muscle his way through, which he does. That foul will be given to Tanner Brown. Hudgens for the and one. Can't get it, but Austin College is able to rebound as Tristan Dick looking for an opening. Up to Joshua Joe, over to Jordan Hudgens. Hudgens back up to Tristan Dick. And the shot clock just a little too short for the Roos. Jacob Harvey can't put it up as he gets blocked. Harvey gets fouled. O.C. Berry getting tagged with the foul there. And one of the best free throwers in the country. And Jacob Harvey sinks his first shot. Caleb Jenkins checking in for the Tigers, along with Kevin Garcia. Harvey's perfect from the free throw line. The Roos break the Trinity defense. Tristan Dick back to Kittis Gannett. Gannett up to Hudgens. Hudgens, fancy pass to Joshua Joe. Joe dishes it into Hudgens. Hudgens, the pass just a little too offline as it hits off Gannett out of bounds. Ethan Pierce checking in for the Roos. Ben Hanley over to Harvey. Harvey can't get a shot off. Gives it back to Hanley, who drives in. And the Tigers will have the lead again. We'll see if Hanley can get the and one. And Hanley does. Joshua Joe back up to Hudgens. Hudgens gets the ball stripped away from him by A.J. Clark, but the Roos get the ball back. Josh Joe driving in. Ethan Pierce gets it back to Gannett. Gannett shoots it up the three-point arc to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick driving in, and he's good. Adding 2 for Austin College. And Hanley having trouble with the ball. He's able to get it to Caleb Jenkins. Jenkins all the way to Clark. Over to Harvey, who can't quite make it from 3. And some smooth moves by Joshua Joe as he gets it to Gannett. Over to Tristan Dick. And Hudgens has the ball taken away by A.J. Clark. A.J. Clark can't put the ball in. But Harvey, Clark rather, able to draw the foul from Tristan Dick, as we will have a media timeout here in CalGuard. We will stick with you here on the Tiger Network. Head coach for the Trinity University Tigers is Jimmy Smith. You can see him on your screen there. He's in his 3rd season with the Tigers, but he's coached 10 seasons at this level. And for the Austin College Kangaroos, their head coach, Rodney Wecker, he's been there for a while. This is his 16th season. Yesterday, the Roos scored a key win against Schreiner, winning 91-79. Tristan Dick led the team in scoring with a whopping 33 points and was 1 rebound away from a double-double. 4 other Roos also hit double digits in scoring. Joshua Joe had 14, O.C. Berry had 11, and was also 1 rebound away from a double-double. Jordan Hudgens and Chase Antosca both had 10 points as well. The Trinity defense stood strong against the Crusaders of Dallas, despite struggling to contain Latrell Toussaint and Marcus Juarez. They silenced the best scorer in the SCAC, Jack Boyle, limiting him only to 5 points before he fouled out. Jack Boyle had been scoring 17 points a game before then. We step out of the timeout here. 2 shots for A.J. Clark from the charity stripe. The Tigers up by 1. Clark's first shot bounces in. And Chase Antosca checking in for the Roos. Both shots are made. And big 3 from Tristan Dick. Caleb Jenkins driving in. Can't get it in, though. That pass way too strong, but they keep it in bounds. Tristan Dick going around the three-point arc, moving back, looking for an opening. He hands it over to Pierce, who dishes it in. Back to Pierce. Over to Dick. Deep three. Can't make it, though. And Caleb Jenkins can't make it from three. Back and forth game here in Calgard. Joshua Joe drives it in. Loses control of the ball. Jackson Rennie coming in for Austin College. They're going to say that the Roos will maintain possession here. The Tiger bench certainly thought they had possession, but the officials give it to the Roos. Rennie up to Antosca. Back down to Rennie. Over to Joshua Joe. Joe back to Rennie. Deep three. Can't make it, though. Caleb Jenkins over to Harvey. Thought about taking a shot, decided against it. Give it back to Jenkins, who drove it in. And the foul on the Roos. That one on Antosca. Jenkins sinks the first shot. Giving the Tigers the lead again. Tristan Dick coming back in the game for the Roos. And Jenkins makes it a 2-point game as he sinks the second shot. Hudgens, swarmed by Tigers, gets it over to Joshua Joe. And the three from Jackson Rennie does not go in. Jenkins over to A.J. Clark. Clark over to Garcia. Garcia spins and makes it in, muscling his way into the paint. Hudgens gets it over to Antosca. Finds its way in the hands of Joshua Joe. And a bit of a mosh pit in the paint. The foul on Hanley. Chase Antosca gets the first shot. And Antosca sinks the second one as well, cutting the Tiger lead to 2. Hanley just does it himself. Drives it into the paint, puts it in. And the Roos trying to move fast, maybe a bit too fast, as the pass to Tristan Dick doesn't hit the target. It's Tiger ball. Wanting to save time. The Tigers don't touch the ball until it rolls about halfway up the back court. Garcia in the paint. Can't put it in. Hudgens gets the ball back for the Roos. Behind the back pass to Tristan Dick. Dick over to Rennie. Rennie up to Joshua Joe. And Joe down to Tristan Dick, who hands it back up to Ethan Pierce. Pierce can't put it in. Ball's up. Hudgens, using his height, gets the ball back all the way over to Tristan Dick. And Rennie. And the three does not go in for the Roos. Garcia keeps the ball in bounds. Saw an opening, took it, but couldn't get the points. Jenkins gets the rebound. And an and one coming up for Caleb Jenkins. As the Tigers in the bonus already. Every foul that the Roos commit now will send the Tigers to the line. Joe gives it to Antosca. Joe back up to Tristan Dick, deep three. Misses its mark. Joe, from the top of the key, is able to sink it. Tigers running down the court as Abdullah Roberts can't put it in.
Foul number 32, Chase Antosca. That's his third. Team foul number 8.
Another foul for Antosca.
The line for 2, Abdullah Roberts.
Roberts missing the first shot.
Zach Fenn in for the Tigers.
The Chaos Creators, Zach Fenn, checking in for the Tigers. Tigers rebound the missed free throw and make it 2. Tristan Dick trying to find someone. Gets it over to Antosca. Over to Joe. Joe to Jackson Rennie. Rennie gets it back to Joe. Joe tries to dish it in the paint to Hudgens. It's off a Tiger and out of bounds. Another timeout here in Calgard. We'll stick with you here on the Tiger Network. The last time the Austin College Kangaroos have made the conference tournament in a non-COVID year was 2020. A win keeps them in contention for the conference tournament, but they would also like a Southwestern and Shriner loss. As for the Tigers, a Tiger win is needed to continue the chase for a bye in the SCAC conference tournament. The last time the Tigers didn't have a bye in the conference tournament was also in 2020, where they were the 5th seed in the tournament. Last time these two teams played each other, a Tiger victory was never in doubt in Sherman, as the Tigers went into the second half with an 18-point lead that proved too much for the Roos to overcome, as the Tigers won 82-67. Jacob Harvey led the Tigers in points that game with 19. AJ Clark and Jacob Milhouse also broke the double-digit barrier, scoring 13 and 10 points respectively. As for Austin's side of the game, Jackson Rennie and Tristan Dick led the way for the Roos, both scoring 12 points apiece. It's a close game so far here in Calgard. Trinity up 19-13. The Roos will be the ones to inbound. Tristan Dick will be the one to make the inbound pass. He finds Jackson Rennie. And Jenkins can't believe that he was called for a foul there. Tristan Dick finds Joshua Joe. Joe back to Gannett. Gannett up to Rennie. And Rennie, the ball comes out. And the Tigers over to Zach Fenn, who puts it in. The Roos are 1 for their last 7 shots. Abdullah Roberts gets the ball. Fumbles it a little bit, but gets it back. Nate Williams checking in place of Jackson Rennie for the Austin College Kangaroos. Jenkins finds Abdullah Roberts. Roberts gives it to Barry. Braxton Barry puts it in. With 11:11 left on the clock. An and one for Barry.
42, Jordan Hutchins. His first, team foul number
The
9.
foul is given to Hutchins. Barry can't make the and one. Kev Jenkins able to rebound it though. And the ball goes all the way up the three-point arc to Abdullah Roberts. And Roberts can't make the shot. Joe driving up the court. Over to Hutchins. Hutchins over to Joe again. Joe hands it to Williams. Tristan Dick having trouble. All the way over to Gannett. Hands it off to Nate Williams. Back to Gannett. Gannett finding Joe. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Joe puts it up and puts it in. But no basket. As the officials wave that one away.
Fouls number 2, Joshua Joe. His first, team foul number 10.
The Tiger lead at 10. Here with about 10 minutes left to go in this first half. Jenkins hands it off to Millhouse. Millhouse back down to Barry. All the way down to Roberts. Roberts to Jenkins. Jenkins can't make the three. Gannett.
Foul number 14, Jacob Millhouse. His first.
The foul
Team foul number
attributed to Jacob Millhouse. Jordan Hutchins to inbound for the Roos. Inbounded to Joe, who is driving it down the middle of the court, but the ball comes loose, and Millhouse passes it. Couldn't tell if that one was meant for Jenkins or Roberts, but either way, it ends up out of bounds.
Also A.J. Clark.
A.J. Clark checking back into the game for Abdullah Roberts. Roos inbound it. Joshua Joe looking for an opening, having to deal with Zach Fenn. The ball ends up in Tristan Dick's hands. He falls over. Ball ends up out of bounds. Tigers to inbound. A.J. Clark. Down to Jacob Harvey. Harvey over to Millhouse. And Millhouse down to Zach Fenn. Fenn over to A.J. Clark. Clark driving in. Back to Harvey, who shoots it over to Millhouse. Millhouse driving in now. And he puts it in. Expanding the Tiger lead. Hutchins. Big pass to Tristan Dick. Ball goes out of bounds though. Scoring drought for Austin College as they call a timeout. They haven't scored in about 3 minutes, so it's easy to see why they've taken this timeout. Coach Wecker wanting to talk his team over, maybe calm them down. They've had some severe turnover issues, 7 turnovers in the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds. They also haven't been the most accurate. 1 for their last 7 field goal attempts. And for A.J. Clark and the Tigers, A.J. Clark has landed in double digits more than any other Tiger this season, having done so in 15 of his 20 appearances this season. In addition, the 5th-year wing is the lead facilitator at 3.5 assists per game and is just 1 rebound shy of Braxton Berry of the team high at 6.1 rebounds per contest. For his career, Clark ranks 3rd all-time with 362 assists and is tied for 9th with 569 rebounds. Fenn will start it off for the Tigers, handing it to Harvey. Over to Millhouse. Hands it back down to Fenn. Fenn shoots it over to A.J. Clark, all the way back down the court to Millhouse, who hands it off to Harvey. Jacob Harvey. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Zach Fenn. I'm not sure that was a pass, but he got it to Barry somehow. Murray gave it to Clark, but the shot from Clark, no good. Jump ball, say the officials. That will give the ball to the Tigers. And Harvey finds A.J. Clark. Millhouse driving in. Can't make it, though, as Gannett and the Roos will hop down the court. Hudgens. Kickball violation on the Tigers. It will remain Roo basketball.
In for the Tigers, Pierce Matthews.
Pierce Matthews in for the Tigers in place of Jacob Millhouse. Joe will take it in the backcourt. Handing it over to Nate Williams. Williams. Smooth pass over to Joe, who passes it over to Hudgens. Hudgens, formed by Tigers, gets out of it, passing it to Joe. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. And Gannett puts it up. Can't put it in, though. It hit the rim, so the shot clock resets. Stoppage in play here in Calguard.
Come out on the floor.
We will stick with you here through this timeout on the Tiger Network. When it comes to rebounds, not many teams are better than Austin College. Austin College is 37th in the nation in offensive rebounds per game with 13.43. They like to give themselves second chances, and they're certainly going to need to give themselves second chances in this game. They're down by 12 points against this Tiger offense. That is the highest scoring offense in the SCAC, scoring about 76 points per game. The SCAC's top offense against the rebounding Roo squad, who is in position to make the conference tournament. Not many spots left. The Roos want to be one of the final ones in. They are playing like their season is on the line, because in many ways it is. If the Roos lose today, it is almost impossible for them to control their own destiny after that point. We step out of this timeout. And we will see that the Roos are going to take the inbound, I believe. Yes, they will. Nate Williams. And the Roos spreading out. Getting it into Hudgens. Hudgens. And the pass contested with by the Tigers. Tristan Dick gets it back, though. And Tristan Dick gets it over to Joshua Joe. Joe driving in. And Joe gets the ball in. A highly contested shot. An impressive shot by Joshua Joe. And one attempt for Joe. Which he puts in. A.J. Clark going up the court, looking for an opening. Directing traffic. Gives it to Pierce Matthews, who gives it back to Clark, dishing it down to Jacob Harvey, who takes a shot, and he drains it from three. Tristan Dick giving it to Joshua Joe. Joe back over to Tristan Dick. And Tristan Dick back up to Gannett. Gannett down to Nate Williams. Williams up to Joshua Joe. And Joe pulling a rabbit out of his hat again. Scoring another bucket for the Austin College Kangaroos. Pierce Matthews driving it in. Gives it back to A.J. Clark. who sinks it from 3. And Fenn aggressively pursuing Hudgens. And now Fenn is on Joe. The ball dished to Hudgens in the paint. Hudgens can't put it in. Gannett gets the ball back but loses it. And the Tigers ultimately come up with the ball, but the ball bobbled away. Tristan Dick can't put it in. The foul on Braxton Berry. Tristan Dick stepping up to the charity stripe.
Tristan Dick, 2 shots.
Tristan Dick sinks the first shot.
Into the Tigers, Ben Hanley for the Kangaroos.
Ben Hanley entering back in. Both shots made. And Hanley can't get it in. Joe driving up the middle of the court. Tristan Dick drives it in. Can't put it in. Shut down by Braxton Berry. AJ Clark moving up the court. Flips it over to Pierce Matthews. Matthews. Bit of a collision between Matthews and Joe. Everyone seems okay, though.
Fouls on number 30. Fouls on number 31, Jason.
And that foul is on number 31, Jason Jones, Jr. First shot from Matthews. Bit too strong. The second shot for Matthews also doesn't go in. Jones up to Joe. Joe being swarmed by AJ Clark. Gets it over to Nate Williams. Williams and it will be Tiger ball. Berry gives it to Harvey in the backcourt. And Harvey can't make it from near the top of the key. Joshua Joe hands it over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick driving up the middle. Can't make the shot in the paint.
And for the Tigers, Bruno Roberts and Grayson Hurd.
Abdullah Roberts and Grayson Hurd checking in for the Tigers. Jacob Harvey hands it over to her, who hands it off to Ben Hanley. Hanley back to her. Her can't quite make it from 3. And Joe trying to figure a way to break through this Trinity defense. Gannett can't make the shot. Harvey looking around, moving up, hands it off to Hanley, who drives it in and tries to pass it to Pierce Matthews. A little too much for Matthews to handle as the ball goes out of bounds. And the Roos coming back up the court. Nate Williams looking for an opening. Gets it to Gannett, who hands it back to Williams, who takes the deep 3. Too strong. The ball's quickly put up the court by Harvey. Austin College defense keeps up with him, though, and prevents him from scoring. Joe driving in, scores the pull-up shot. Her with the ball. Grayson Her hands it down to Jacob Harvey, who hands it over to Ben Hanley. Double dribble for Ben Hanley. Hanley is insisting that he did not double dribble that ball, but the officials called it, as there will be a timeout on the floor. Coach Smith talking with the officials about that call, not agreeing with it. Well, last weekend, Austin College dropped a close game against the top team in the conference, St. Thomas, 61-70. And after that, the Roos suffered a crushing blow against Centenary as they were humbled at home, 45-70. And these losses have really thinned the road to the SCAC tournament for the Austin Kangaroos. They really want to make it. But to make it, they need to beat Trinity here in Calgard Gym. It is not a friendly place to play. The Tigers up 31-22 over the Roos. As the Roos coming together along with the Tigers, we'll see what adjustments they've made stepping out of this timeout. It'll be Rue ball following the double dribble. Joshua Joe gets the ball over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick over to Gannett. Gannett puts it in. Abdullah Roberts up to Jacob Harvey. Harvey handed it off. Harvey finds the ball again. Tristan Dick nearly takes the ball away. And Harvey puts it in. Bounced off the front of the rim, but then bounced in. And Josh Joe hands it over to Antosca. Trying to get back to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick driving it in. Can't get it in, though. But he will be fouled. And Tristan Dick will head to the charity stripe to try to cut into this Trinity lead. And Tristan Dick's first shot. Bounces in and out. Tristan Dick again. That shot rings true. 1 for 2 in that trip. AJ Clark hands the ball up to her. Her down to Jacob Harvey. Harvey down to Roberts. Abdullah Roberts dishes it back out to Harvey. Deep three. Can't make it. Tristan Dick driving up the bottom side of the court. And the pass a little too much for Jason Jones Jr. to handle. And that ball is ripped into the crowd by Jacob Millhouse. The no-look pass attempt. Way too wild. Joshua Joe gets it to Gannett. Gannett back to Joe. Joe looking for an opening. Defers it to Gannett. Gannett over to Antosca. Antosca over to Joe. And Joe scores it in the paint. The Tigers moving with the purpose. Harvey hands it over to AJ Clark, who easily puts it in.
AJ Clark.
Joe with the ball again. And Antoska looking for an opening. Dishes it in to Jones. Roos nearly lose the ball, but get it back. Joe can't score it. The foul on Gannett. His second foul on the day.
A.J. Clark for 2 shots.
A.J. Clark will take 2 from the charity stripe. The first shot is smooth as butter. Caleb Jenkins, Zach Fenn, and Braxton Berry checking in for the Tigers. As Clark's second shot is also drained. Trinity's lead, 11 now. Tristan Dick gets it to Gannett. Gannett over to Dick again. Tristan Dick back to Gannett. Gannett all the way over to O.C. Berry, who hands it back to Joe, who hands it to Tristan Dick. Passing up to Joe. Joe dishing it in to Gannett. Can't do anything with it in the paint. And Braxton Berry. Jenkins saving a bit of time by not touching the ball. The ball finds the way in the hands of Her. Her driving it in. And Her makes the pull-up shot. And Fenn aggressive with his defense. Tristan Dick up to Joshua Joe. Tristan Dick driving it in into the paint. A smooth pass to O.C. Berry.
Fouls number 22, A.J. Clark. That is his first. And foul number 9. The line for 1 shot. O.C. Berry.
And O.C. Berry will get the and one. That was a nice little sequence by the Roos. The Tiger lead is 10 once again. The Roos have had trouble cutting in any further than that, though. Jacob Harvey dishes it to Clark, who puts up a 3 but can't make it. Her gets the rebound. Her drives it in, gives it to Berry. But Berry travels with the ball. 33.5 seconds here left in the first half. Gannett to inbound.
Also in Brent Jacobs.
Gannett hands it to Joe. Joe trying to deal with Jenkins. And now has to deal with Fenn. Gets it over to Gannett, who is immediately swarmed by Zach Fenn. But Zach Fenn with the foul.
Foul number 35, Zach Finn. That's his second. Team foul number 10.
And Kiddis Gannett
Kiddis Gannett.
gets 2 shots from the charity stripe. Angled too sharp on the first shot.
Jacob Harvey. Tanner Brown in.
Tanner Brown and Jacob Milhouse checking in. And Gannett can't make the second one either. Once again, the Roos having trouble breaking past that 10-point deficit. As Her staying patient with the ball. No shot clock. We'll see if he takes the last shot. He hands it over to Jenkins, and that pass cannot find Jacob Millhouse as that one is just launched out of bounds. Tristan Dick will inbound it here for the Roos for what is most likely the last shot. Josh Joe puts it up. Can't quite put it in though. And we are at halftime here in San Antonio. The Tigers have scored 40, the Kangaroos 30. 10-point lead for the Tigers heading into halftime. We will take a break here on the Tiger Network. Halftime will last about 15 minutes, as you see it on your screen. We will be back here on the Tiger Network as soon as it's over. Stay tuned here on the Tiger Network. Welcome back to the Tiger Network. We're about to end the break between halves. Some stats from the first half. Leading the Tigers for points is A.J. Clark with 9. And over on the Austin College side, Joshua Joe and Tristan Dick have both broke the double-digit barrier, scoring 11 points and 10 points respectively. The Tigers lead 40-30 here in Calgary Gym. Next week, the Tigers will play Texas Lutheran and Southwestern here at home to end off SCAC regular season play. And they hope to go into that with a win, as the Roos will inbound it. Joe over to Gannett. Gannett back over to Joe. Joe showing some fancy footwork, gives it over to Hudgens. Hudgens can't put it in. And Jacob Harvey gives it over to Hanley. Hanley over to A.J. Clark, shoots it in to Barry. Nothing doing for Barry, though. Barry will step up to the free-point line. Barry unable to get the first one in. And can't get the second one in either. But it doesn't matter, as Trinity will get 3 from Hanley. Tristan Dick can't put it in. Barry on the rebound. Hands it over to A.J. Clark. Clark puts it in for 2.
A.J. Clark.
Hudgens over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick can't put it in from the paint. Just short.
Foul on 0, Braxton Barry. That is his second team foul number 1.
Tristan Dick
Shots for Tristan Dick.
will get the charity shots here. They say sharing is caring, and for the Roos, that rings true. The Roos lead the SCAC in assists per game at 14.3, and Joshua Joe is 5th in the SCAC in assists per game at 3.2. That shot, no good from Tristan Dick. A.J. Clark does it himself. Adds 2 to the board for the Tigers. Joe. A shot in the paint. Gets in for the Roos. Hanley driving in. Shoots it back out to Harvey. Contested 3. Can't make it. A foul on Tanner Brown. Roos inbound to Gannett. Foul by Clark, and he knew it. Bit of frustration showing.
Foul number 22. A.J. Clark is second, team foul number 3.
And Hudgens. All the way over to Tristan Dick is the Joshua Joe pass. Over to Gannett. 3. Air ball. Hanley gives it to Brown. Tanner Brown driving it in. Able to draw the foul. Tanner Brown will step up to the charity stripe for the first time tonight. Brown sinks the first shot. Brown can't make the second shot, though. Rattles in and out. Kittis Gannett all the way over to Jordan Hudgens. Hudgens hands it over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick back to Hudgens. And Hudgens. It finds Joshua Joe. Has to run back and get it. The pass a little high from O.C. Barry. Tristan Dick tried to put one in. The shot too weak, but he does draw the foul and will step to the charity stripe. Tristan Dick 4 for 6 tonight from the free throw line. That shot is perfect. And he sinks the second one as well. Tanner Brown to inbound it here for the Tigers. Hands it over to A.J. Clark. Clark not touching the ball, saving what could be valuable time. A.J. Clark dishes it out to Tanner Brown from 3. Can't make it. And the Roos pass it all the way down to Antoska. A.J. Clark driving down. Another 3 is good by Ben Hanley. As the Tigers cross the 50 mark. Ball nearly stripped by the Tigers. Let the Tigers get the ball. And Clark finishes the job. Josh Joe looking for an opening. Gets it to Gannett. Gannett over to Hudgens. Hudgens dishes it in to O.C. Barry. Barry takes the shot in the paint. And down the three-point arc it goes. Ball slips out. Nate Thompson was able to get it to Hanley. Hanley's 3 doesn't make it though. Josh Joe handing it to Jordan Hudgens. Hudgens handing it to Antoska. And Antoska slips it in. Hanley gets it to Brown. Brown over to Harvey. Harvey hands it to Clark. Tried to dish it in. Jacob Harvey able to scoop up the errant pass. And that ball went off of Nate Thompson.
And Jacob Billhouse in for Trinity. One more time, big hand for the Tiger cheerleader.
And a timeout on the floor here in San Antonio. We'll stick with you here on the Tiger Network. I asked head coach Jimmy Smith of the Trinity Tigers what his thoughts on Austin College were, and he said that Austin is a very talented team. They have length and athleticism. And he talked specifically about Jackson Rennie being one of the best SCAC shooters, going to get going in a hurry. He also knows that Austin College will probably be fighting for their lives, and they are. And they're going to play fast with Trinity, so if the Tigers execute defensively, he thinks that the Tigers can win here in San Antonio. Austin College, maybe not as dominant defensively as they could be. They lead the SCAC and are 29th in the nation in blocks per game with 4.6. They only have 1 block attributed to them tonight. My apologies. They have 2 blocks attributed to them tonight. They may meet that mark yet. But right now, the Tiger offense is on its way to scoring their Average points per game of 76. Joe getting the inbound pass over to Nate Williams. Williams waiting for his chance. Spins around. Can't get away from Millhouse. Millhouse aggressive with his defense. Foul on Millhouse. Joe bobbles the ball, and Antoska can't put it in. Ben Hanley just drives it in himself and scores for the Tigers. 14-point lead here for the Tigers as we're a quarter of the way through the second half. And Jordan Hudgens dishes it back out to Nate Williams, who hands it back to Hudgens. Hudgens can't make the pull-up shot. Nate Thompson ends up in the hands of Griffin Levine, checking in here for the Tigers. Levine can't make the three.
Number 45, Nate Thompson is first.
Push foul for Nate Thompson. Joe taking the inbound pass for the Roos. Fouled pretty quickly by Levine. Austin College in the bonus now. Every foul by a Tiger will send them to the charity stripe.
The line for the 1-1, Joshua Joe.
Joe's first shot. No good. Nate Thompson quick to scoop it up. Caleb Jenkins hands it over to Millhouse. Millhouse driving it in, trying to muscle it in.
Number 31.
The foul on Jason Jones Jr.
Number 3.
Griffin Levine driving it in. Shoots it back out to Millhouse, over to Jenkins. Caleb Jenkins trying to drive it in himself, loses the ball.
Foul number 2, Joshua Joe is second. That's team foul.
The foul on Josh Joe will make it Tiger ball once again. Ball getting called back. Nate Thompson gets the inbound pass. Caleb Jenkins driving it in and putting it in. With an and one on the way for Caleb Jenkins.
Foul number 14, Nate Williams is first.
Jenkins is 2 for 3 in his free throws tonight. And he sinks that one. Joshua Joe up the side of the court. Dishes it up to Nate Williams. Back down to Joe, who puts it in the paint for Antoska. And Antoska able to put it in there for the Roos. Millhouse driving it in for the Tigers. Can't put it in. That foul on number 31, Jason Jones Jr. Jacob Millhouse will be the ones to take these free throws.
2 shots.
And the Tigers slowly pulling away here. And they do so even more as Millhouse sinks the first of 2 shots. The Roos now down by 16. Millhouse here has a chance to make it 17. And Millhouse sinks the shot. Joshua Joe trying to find an open man. Gets it to Antosca. Antosca over to Joshua Joe. Joe back to Antosca. Antosca driving it forward. Hands it back to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick. Nothing doing for Tristan Dick. But he does draw a foul.
Foul number 45, Nate Thompson is second.
That foul on Nate Thompson.
The line, Tristan Dick.
Tristan Dick's first shot. No good. The second shot for Tristan Dick. Finds its way in the bucket. Ben Hanley to inbound it. To Millhouse, back to Hanley. Ben Hanley. Doesn't hand it off to Millhouse. Takes it himself, but can't make the shot. Curtis Gannett scooping up the rebound. And Tosca over to Gannett. Gannett thought about taking a shot, thought better of it. And Tosca can't make it from three. Joe over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick stepping back a little bit, trying to find an open man. Gets it to O.C. Barry. Barry. Nothing happening. He is fouled, and the crowd cannot believe it. And Coach Smith can only shake his head. Disagreement from the crowd about that call. Barry makes the shot. And Barry's second shot is smooth as butter. All right, Jenkins hands it up over to A.J. Clark. Passes it off to Griffin Levine. Caleb Jenkins once again over to Millhouse. Millhouse gives a smooth pass to Nate Thompson, who puts it in. But Millhouse taking a tumble. Slow to get up. He seems to be okay, though. And Joshua Joe taking the inbound from Rex King, a new face for the Roos on the court. Gannett over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick trying to find an open man. Trying to drive it in. Can't break through this aggressive zone defense of the Tigers. Tristan Dick shoots it over to Joshua Joe, who can't make the three. Caleb Jenkins loses the ball. Rex King takes it. It's him and Levine and Clark, but he can't do anything with it. Timeout on the floor here in Calgary. We will stick with you here on the Tiger Network. And Jason Jones Jr. for Austin College ranks 4th in the SCAC in terms of field goal percentage. He's currently shooting 52.8% this season. He is pinpoint accurate. But for Jones tonight, you see that he hasn't scored a single point. He hasn't made a single shot. The Tiger defense being effective against this dangerous Austin College offense as they have slowly pulled away from the Roos. Joshua Joe and Tristan Dick still the only two players for Austin College to break double digits. And of course, next week, we will, at the end of next weekend, find out the official seedings for the conference tournament. The Tigers looking to be one of the top 2 seeds. They're looking to be the 2 seed specifically, as St. Thomas clinched the 1 seed last weekend. St. Thomas, the top team in the SCAC, ranked number 12 in the nation. They haven't dropped a game all season, and they will certainly be the team to beat here in San Antonio, where the SCAC conference tournament for both men's and women's basketball will be hosted. Right here on the Tiger Network. Be sure to tune into that. Tristan Dick inbounds. Over to Joshua Joe. Joe over to Gannett. Gannett. Back down to Antosca. Antosca. Over to Joe. And Joe muscling his way through and putting one up from the paint. Levine all the way over to Millhouse. Handing it back to Levine. Trades it back to Millhouse again. Over to A.J. Clark, who's able to get it in. Joshua Joe hands it over to Tristan Dick. Tristan Dick surveying the defense. Hands it over to Antosca, who trades it back to Tristan Dick. Over to Rex King. Rex King to Josh Joe. Can't put it in. Nate Thompson hands it over to Clark. 2-on-1. Good. Jenkins puts it in. Nothing that Joe could do there. And that ball is nearly taken away by A.J. Clark, but Gannett is able to corral it. Rex King hands it over to Antosca. Antosca can't handle the ball. And his shot does not make it. Griffin Levine over to Clark, is able to put it in for an easy 2. The Tiger lead swells to 20 halfway through the second half. And that ball is taken away by Millhouse, who's all alone in front, and he puts it in. Timeout for Austin College. Frustration on the Roos' face. Head coach Rodney Wecker calling another timeout. They are down 70-48. They can't keep falling behind like this if they want to win. But their defense is bleeding points over to the Trinity Tiger offense, who is poised to break their points per average game of 76. And for the Trinity Tigers, they will need some help in order to get that bye. Centenary, Coach Smith told me, has to play St. Thomas and Colorado College on the road. So in order to prevent any weird scenarios from happening, he is counting on one of those games to be a loss for the Centenary gentlemen. Of course, St. Thomas, as I said before, hasn't dropped a game all season. Right now, the rankings in the SCAC go number 1 St. Thomas, 2 Centenary, 3 Trinity, 4 Colorado College, 5 Texas Lutheran, and 6, and in the final spot, Schreiner. 7 Southwestern, 8 Dallas, and 9 Austin College. That's a typo, actually. Austin College should be number 8. And scores around the SCAC. Schreiner currently leading Dallas in Kerrville, 51-76. If Dallas loses that game, it will be impossible for them to make the SCAC conference tournament. As the Roos inbound it here, Josh Joe. The pass goes to the Roo bench. Tigers inbounded. Griffin Levine. Over to Millhouse. Millhouse, Nate Thompson. A.J. Clark back to Millhouse. Wide open three. Can't do anything with it, though. The foul on Jackson Rennie. Rennie leads the SCAC and is 71st in the nation in three-point attempts with 150. He likes to shoot it from deep. They'll need him to catch fire right now if the Roos want to have any hopes of catching up to this Trinity lead. That continues to swell with that make from Nate Thompson. And Thompson sinks the second one as well. Joe up to Antosca, and Antosca passes it away. Rennie from deep, can't make it. The foul attributed to Millhouse. Rex King will step up to the charity stripe. First time tonight he's done so. And he sinks the first shot. And King can't make the second shot as the Tigers are quick to drive it down. A.J. Clark, the pass off Gannett, falls into the hands of Joe. And a big fall from Griffin Levine. Levine may be a bit winded, but he is ultimately okay. In the game against the Crew yesterday, there were a lot of collisions and a lot of chippiness against the Dallas Crusaders. It's been a much cleaner game tonight from the Tigers on that front. Jenkins can't make it. Thompson tries to finish the job. He can't do so. A.J. Clark now can't make that one. Thompson again will be fouled. Thompson tonight, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Sinks that one. And this will be to make the Tiger lead 25. And so it will be. Hanley checking in for A.J. Clark. Gannett. Inbounds it to Christian Luera. He gives it to Gannett, back to Luera. Luera over. And Gannett found under the rim. Unable to do anything with it. That foul is going to be attributed to Jacob Millhouse. As Millhouse's fourth foul. Millhouse needs to be careful. Gannett sinks the first shot. Makes him 1 for 3 tonight from the charity stripe. And Gannett is able to make the second shot as well. Tanner Brown hands it over to Griffin Levine. Levine having to contend with Luera. He hands it over to Abdullah Roberts. Roberts over to Nate Thompson. Hands it down to Tanner Brown. Up to Griffin Levine. Levine driving in and out over to Roberts. Abdullah Roberts out to Levine. Takes a three. And he absolutely sinks it. Big three from Griffin Levine. Luera looking for an open man. Finds Antosca. Antosca over to Jackson Rennie. Rennie back to Antosca. Antosca hands it over to O.C. Berry. Back to Luera, whose shot falls short as the shot clock runs out. Hanley over to Brown. And Brown sinks it from three. And Antosca. It's over to Luera. Luera back to Antosca. Over to King. Can't make the shot. Tanner Brown takes another three. Bricks it though. King handing it over to Antosca. Tosca up to Luera. Christian Luera has his pass almost intercepted by Abdullah Roberts. But it went off Antosca, so it will be Tiger ball. Timeout on the floor here in Calgar Gym. We will stick with you here on the Tiger Network. Austin College is 9-14 on the season and 4-10 in SCAC play. The Tigers have had a 6-0 run over the last minute. And the offense for the Roos, a bit frigid. One of their last 8 field goals has gone in. And they've had no shot attempts in the last 5 minutes. Austin College really needs to get the offense going. They're down by 29. Both teams are taking free throws for every foul. It is looking grim for the Roos of Austin College. The Tigers, with their 80 points, have many people to thank, but the biggest person to thank is A.J. Clark, who has scored 19, followed by Ben Hanley, who has scored 15. A.J. Clark has 7 rebounds, so we are on double-double watch for A.J. Clark. He just needs 3 more rebounds in order to collect it. As we step out of this timeout, the ball is handed to Grayson Herr, who checks in for the Tigers. He hands it up to Abdullah Roberts, who gives it to Ben Hanley. Down to Herr, back to Brown. And Ben Hanley drives it in, but can't make it in. Rebounds his unmissed shot and puts it in. Give himself a second chance there. And the foul called on Abdullah Roberts.
Abdullah Roberts is second. The line for 2 is Christian Luera.
Luera up to the charity stripe. First time tonight. Shot 1. Absolutely sunk. Pierce Matthews and Kevin Garcia relieving Nate Thompson and Ben Hanley. Second shot for Luera. Can't get it. As the Tigers storm down the court once again. Grayson Herr hands it over to Tanner Brown. Brown directing traffic. Back to Herr and to Pierce Matthews. Matthews back out to Herr. Her over to Abdullah Roberts, who makes the shot in the paint. Christian Loera. And this Rue offense trying to find a weakness in the Trinity D. They can find it there though. The lead for the Tigers, 30 points. Grayson Herr gives it up to Garcia. Abdullah Roberts to Garcia. Hands it back to her. And Tanner Brown does it himself. Drives it up and scores. Christian Loera looking for an opening, trying to drive in to find it. Hands it back to Jackson Rennie. Rennie can't make the shot. And O.C. Berry can't make it either. Tanner Brown, 3 against 2. Grayson Herr for 3. Can't make it. Abdullah Roberts gets the rebound. Hands it back to Brown. Nothing doing for Brown. Herr over to Roberts or Garcia. Who knows? They both seemed to think that they were going to get that pass. Tanner Brown will go to the bench in favor of Zach Fenn. Loera passes it over to Rennie. Rennie back up to Antosca. Antosca can't put it in. That foul on Pierce Matthews. Barry will step up to the line. He is perfect on the night. 3 for 3 from the charity stripe. And he stays perfect. The second shot for O.C. Berry. Perfect as well. Berry will go to the bench. Favor for Jonathan Lawrence, who enters the game. Herr hands it off to Zach Fenn. Fenn back to Herr. Herr over to Garcia. Kevin Garcia hands it to Pierce Matthews. Matthews back to Garcia. Garcia all the way down to Herr. Herr down to Garcia. All the way up to Matthews, who puts it up and puts it in. 3 points for Pierce Matthews. The pass to Rex King, all the way back to Jackson Rennie. Rennie driving in. Rennie putting it up. Can't put it in, though. Zach Fenn launches it all the way down the court to Pierce Matthews, who puts it in and will have an and one to go. Zach Fenn launched it like it was a Hail Mary pass in the Super Bowl.
Scoring the bucket to Pierce Matthews. Foul number 23, Jonathan Lawrence, his first, and foul number 9.
Timeout on the floor here. We'll stick with you here on the Tiger Network. I asked Coach Jimmy Smith what made him happy this week. And he said that what made him the happiest was that they had a good practice coming off a loss to Colorado College up in Colorado Springs. And he says he understands that they're in a good position with the last 4 games being at home after having a lot of games on the road. They control their destiny. It set them up for a strong finish. And he's expecting good crowds for the Tigers in the SCAC tournament, which is, of course, here in Calgar Gym at Trinity University in San Antonio. It's going to be an awesome time from February 24th to February 26th. We will have 3 days of phenomenal SCAC basketball. We step out of this timeout. Trinity up 91-56 over Austin College. Pierce Matthews for the and one attempt. Matthews hasn't made a free throw tonight. And Fenn not too happy with himself there.
Ball number 35, Zach Fenn is third.
And the first shot for Christian Loera. Strikes true. And the chaos creator, Zach Fenn, will head back to the bench while Zach Austin checks in. And the Loera's second shot is good as well. Garcia inbounds it to her, Grayson Herr. We'll take the ball down the court as we hit the 3-minute mark here on this game. Herr looking for an opening. Gives it to Zach Austin. Austin up to Garcia. And Herr will take the three. And will make the three. Big three for Herr. Antosca gives it to King. Up to Jackson Rennie. Back down to Antosca. Trinity defense not letting up. Jackson Rennie, nothing doing for him. Gives it to Antosca, dishing it in to Caleb Bennett. Bennett can't make the shot. Pierce Matthews is fouled. The foul will be on Caleb Bennett for the Austin College Roos. Well, if the Roos wanted to foul anyone, Matthews may be the right one to foul. He hasn't made a free throw tonight. Until right now. Just strike that one from the record. Kevin Garcia will head to the bench as Cole Anderson checks into the game. Pierce Matthews sinks the second one as well. Just don't listen to me, folks. King handing it to Loera. Loera trying to find an opening. Gives it to Rennie. Rennie will draw the foul from Zach Austin. 2 shots for Rennie. And Rennie's second shot is perfect. 2 shots for Rennie. Grayson Herr, 2 minutes left on the clock. Zach Austin driving it in. Can't put it in. It's tipped up again. Scramble for the ball. Jump ball. That'll be the ball in possession of the Tigers. Grayson Herr will inbound it here. Handing it over to Cole Anderson. Finds its way into the hands of Zach Austin. Up to number 32, John Adamczak. And the ball goes in and out for Grayson Herr. Herr hands it over to Adamczak, who can't make it. Foul by Cole Anderson. Caleb Bennett's first trip to the charity stripe tonight. Angle too sharp on the first shot. And the Tiger lead is at 36 currently. Sinks the second one, though. And to Corey James checking in for the ruse. Her hands it down to Adam Zach. Adam Zach up to Anderson. Anderson hands it off to Grant Jacobs, who hands it back down to her. Two fouls on the play, Cole Anderson and Rex King. It'll just be a Tiger inbound. Grant Jacobs up to Zach Austin. Handing it over to her. Her over to Austin. Austin driving it in. He can't put it in, but he does draw the foul. Zach Austin will get a chance for two shots here.
The line is Zach Austin for 2.
And the second shot, no good either. Less than a minute to play here in San Antonio. But the Tiger defense still plays tough. Rex King hands it to Jonathan Lawrence, who can't put it in. Lawrence rebounds the pass. Gets the foul drawn. Jonathan Lawrence, the senior from Lucas, Texas. Shot one is too strong. Shot two, too strong as well. And all alone in front, Adam Zach. Contested shot, though, as the ruse quickly filed in. The foul on Christian Luera. John Adam Zach will take his first shots from the charity stripe. Adam Zach's first shot is perfect. And Adam Zach has two perfect shots. Textbook, almost. Christian Luera driving it in quickly over. And the ruse can't get that one in. Adam Zach hands it up to Zach Austin. Austin over to her. And her is going to let the clock run out, it seems, as the Tigers have a dominant win over the Austin College Kangaroos, kicking them out of Calguard. The Tigers win 98-61. Some post-game stats for you. Ben Hanley scored 17 points, but the leader for the game was AJ Clark with 19. For Austin College, Joshua Joe scored 15 points, and Tristan Dick scored 14. Thank you for joining us here on the Tiger Network. We will see you next week when the men and women's team return here again to play Texas Lutheran and Southwestern. We hope you have a great night here on the Tiger Network. Thank you for tuning in.